What's up, everybody? This is Casey Washak with the Rolling for Revenue podcast, your jiu-jitsu business podcast. Guys, if you're looking to level up your school, create greater impact in your area, or just build the business to give you the lifestyle you want to achieve, then this is the podcast for you. Guys, before we get started, I need to tell you about the Rolling for Revenue book. Over 20 years of practical business experience inside this book that'll help you inside your schools on the day-to-day. This is exactly what I would do if I was going to open yet another school. And this is exactly how I would start it off. So go to rollingforrevenue.com, just pay for the shipping. The book is free, and grab it and implement it. All right, guys. So today, what I want to talk about is something that I don't think a lot of us have really thought about, and that is who we're designing our school for. Okay? When I first started personal training, I was an MMA fighter, and I just wanted to train athletes. Right? My plan was to train athletes and MMA fighters. And then my first client, her name was Sandra. She was 55, was here to lose a little weight. And then she brought one of her friends, and then who's also in the same age range. And then long before you know it, I'm training a bunch of middle-aged women. And it was at that point where I was like, I need to learn more about this demographic and how to train this demographic, because I'm doing them a disservice. They're the ones who are showing up, paying me money, and I had in my head that I was going to be training MMA fighters. So I need to learn about this demographic. And so that led me down a different path, right? And then all of a sudden, along the way, an opportunity just fell in my lap to start training people with multiple sclerosis. And I had about 40 clients with multiple sclerosis that we still train to this day. And so it was at that point where I had to dive deep into learning about multiple sclerosis and the effects strength training has on slowing the progression of the disease. So my point to this is, throughout the year, we've been evolving our business, but we always had who our perfect client is in mind. And sometimes when you build a business, you have an ideal client in mind, or people that you'd like to train with. And then all of a sudden, other people start coming in, and you're like, well, this wasn't the plan, but I'm going to embrace it. And so what I would argue for a lot of us is that we're trying to be something for everybody. But if you look at how we talk, whether it's in our marketing, our sales, and everything, we still have a vision of who we'd want to train. And so there could be a disconnect because, for example, if you sat down with your staff, if you have staff, if you sat down with your staff and said, who's our perfect client? You'll probably get, if you have 3 staff members, 3 different answers, 3 completely different people, 3 completely different ideas of who the perfect client is. Or if you don't have staff, if you went to 3 random clients, different clients, and said, what sort of gym are we? You'll get 3 different answers. Now, this is because you never defined who you are as a business and then service that sort of people. So, for example, being in business for over 20 years with our personal training studios, we target the 40 and up crowd. We help people live years stronger and years longer. So we are focused on the 40 and up clientele who have a little more wear and tear on their bodies. They're not looking to do these high intensity boot camps and things like that. They're looking at being able to do the things they want to do for as long as humanly possible. Okay. So I know that. But guess what? Some of these 40 and up want us to train their high school football player. We can do that. Some of these 40 and up have parents who are obviously 40 and up, but who are in wheelchairs and things like that. We can do that. So while our target is the 40 and up crowd, we are going to get outliers outside of that. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of us haven't defined who our perfect client is or what sort of gym we are. Are we a competitor's gym? And if we are, then I would say if you name your classes like foundations or fundamentals or beginner, that's not gearing towards the competition crowd. Vice versa, if you say I'm for the hobbyist. Yes, we'll get some competitors, but that's not exactly who we're focused on. But then you have 10 round Tuesdays, competition classes on these days, then you say you're for somebody, but your schedule doesn't show that. There's a disconnect. So this is where getting together with your staff and saying, hey, who are we? Who do you think we are? And then, number one, you want their input on who they think you are, because you want to hear from their perspective what they see and everything like that. So you want their input, and you might get different answers than what you think it is. So this isn't about tweaking your business to be whatever your staff thinks it is. What it's about is understanding what they're seeing or what they're focused on, and then hearing that, and then in turn saying, that's interesting because I think our target market is this, and this is who we are, and this is who we need to service, and then getting their input on how you can do that. We have close to 300 members, and man, I would say 25% of those members are families. So we are big with families. So are we targeting the kids and then getting the parents? Are we targeting the parent and then getting the kids? I would say we're targeting the kids and getting the parents. All right. So, and then I would say a lot of our gym is hobbyists, people who enjoy it. They're not trying to compete. So we need to make sure our schedule and make sure our offerings are good for them. Yes, the competitors will benefit, but it's more, it's more who's paying you. You may say, I want to be a competitor school. You have 200 members and only 4 competitors. You're not a competitor school. The competitors are not putting food on the table. It's the other people. So this is why I brought up the story early on. I was an MMA fighter. I wanted to train MMA fighters. And then I started getting middle-aged women. And I was like, I need to pivot quick because, and as I found out, MMA fighters don't have personal trainers because they're typically broke. So anyways, this is an exercise I'd like you to do so that you can get the staff on board with who your perfect avatar is. This is what your perfect client, but also make sure that once you're all in agreement with, your perfect client, and let me tell you, your perfect client can be a hodgepodge of like 3 people. So we have a staff of like 8, and I had everybody write down 5 names for adults, 5 names for kids who they think the perfect clients are. And what ended up happening was there was 3 adult names that came up almost 8 times each. So everybody saw those people as one of our perfect clients. So it was really easy for us to get into alignment and say, okay, this is who we need to talk to. So now that we know these guys, we need to know everything about these guys. Why did they join? Why did they come in and sign up with us? What is the expected outcome they're looking for? How often do they train? Where do they hang out? What sort of car do they drive? Do they have families? Are they married? Are they divorced? Do they have kids? all these things. And then guess what? You start looking at the commonalities, and then you say, okay, guys, this is hunting. All right. This is hunting. It's like, if I want to harvest an animal, I need to know as much about that animal as possible. Where does it hang out? Where, where does it eat? What time of day does it eat? Where does it sleep? Same thing you need to do with your members. You got to get very granular as to what they do, how they do it, who their circle of influence is, who they hang out with. Do they go to church? Where they hang out with outside the gym? Where they like to eat? All these things. And then you almost start building a database of who that perfect client is. And then you know where to find them and you know where to target as far as your marketing. You know what to say, how to say it, what moves the needle for them. And then all of a sudden, everything else becomes easier. So this is a fun exercise to do. I would say if you're an owner, do it alone and then do it with your staff to where you're asking these questions. This is the exercise we do to figure out who our target market is. And we get the whole team on board with the mission that these are the sorts of people we're trying to find. And yes, we're going to get outliers and we love them all. But overall, the gym is filled with these guys or gals. So let's fill the gym more with them. All right. Fun exercise. Comment avatar if this is something that you want me to send over to you. Super easy exercise, fun to do, and it gets you all in alignment with who you need to target and how to fill your gym with that perfect client. All right. Take care, guys, and I'll see you in the gym and keep changing lives.